What's up, space pirates? This is your captain, the ever-charming Dr. Disaster, and there isn't much out there more satisfying than seeing morons suffer through the consequences of their own actions, which is what we have going on with the game Concord right now.
See anything you like?
That's a woman?
The developers of Concord went out of their way to embrace the woke fad that permeated the gaming industry. They went out of their way to fill their game to the brim with lame, ugly-ass characters that nobody gives a shit about. Not a very good strategy for a hero shooter, I guess, because it is just now being reported that Concord is set to cost Sony big time. They are staring down the barrel of a $200 million loss.
Oh, dear God, no!
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, where I keep a list of games lousy with wokeness and woke creators pinned to my account for your reference at all times. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. Anyhow, like I was saying, things aren't looking too swell for Concord. They have been the butt of the joke for gamers for a month or so now, ever since their free beta failed to bring in more than a few thousand concurrent players on Steam. We knew even then that this was going to end up being one of the all-time bad launches in gaming history. But wow, it is hard to believe that they are potentially losing $200 million on this thing. Word is that the game itself cost $150 million to develop, which, considering that it took 8 years to develop, that isn't too surprising. But when you factor in continued salaries for developers maintaining the game and maintaining the servers, not to mention the marketing costs, Sony is set to lose $200 million. Now, you may remember that this is roughly the same amount that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League lost earlier this year. Rumors have circulated that Warner is considering shutting down Rocksteady Studios after that massive failure, but at least Rocksteady has all the Batman Arkham games in their pedigree that they can hang their hats on. As a company, they do have a track record of excellent games, even though most of the developers that made the Arkham games are long gone. But Firewalk Studios, the developers of Concord, they are nobodies, and I fail to see a world where they survive such a massive failure. So yeah, this is apparently the cost of making overtly woke games these days, at least in the AAA arena anyhow. If you put together a pile of dung like Concord or Suicide Squad, you risk losing $500 million and shuttering your studio. And as for Sony themselves, their method of absorbing the loss for Concord seems to be to increase the price of the PS5 in Japan. I'm sorry to hear that Sony is making the Japanese gamers out there pay for their mistakes. Rather than acknowledge that Concord was a terrible idea, rather than say, we recognize that gamers don't want woke infestations in their games, Sony has decided to hike the price tag and make the consumers pay for it. And considering that these days most of the PS5 exclusives are either out on Steam right away at launch or they release on Steam shortly thereafter, I fail to see how this can be a good strategy. I mean, it's supposed to go the other way, isn't it? After time, a console is supposed to get cheaper. PS5 is a 4-year-old console after all, but Sony would apparently rather burn it all down and make asinine moves repeatedly rather than admit their failures stem from a basic misunderstanding of how to make games that people want to play these days, rather than admit the wokeness is a problem and that it turns people off big time, rather than admit that they want to make gamers pay more for their console. Well, their fundamental misunderstanding is the reason that they only have 100 players playing the game at the time of this recording on Steam, and those poor saps that are playing this game are reportedly suffering through 8-minute wait times for matchmaking. This game will absolutely go down as an all-timer on the list of worst launches ever, and if Sony doesn't get the message, if they don't understand the message that gamers are trying to send to them by avoiding Concord, then the results will be repeated for the next woke piece of shit that comes out. But I'm gonna leave it there. It seems appropriate right now to humiliate Concord as much as possible. Drop your mockery of Sony and this game in the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of